What has made China so rich in the last 40 years? Introduction. Over the past 4 decades, China has undergone one of the most remarkable economic transformations in human history. From being an isolated and largely agrarian society in the late 1970s, China has emerged as the world's second largest economy and a global manufacturing powerhouse. This unprecedented rise has lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty and has significantly altered the global economic landscape. The question of what has made China so rich in such a relatively short period is complex and multifaceted. It involves a combination of economic reforms, governmental policies, global integration, and social transformations. This article will explore the various factors that have contributed to China's economic miracle. Historical context: China before the economic reforms. Before the 1978 economic reforms, China was an isolated and impoverished country. The economy was predominantly agrarian, with the majority of the population engaged in subsistence farming. The central government, under the leadership of the Communist Party, controlled almost all aspects of economic activity. The state-owned enterprises, SOEs, were the backbone of the economy, and private enterprise was virtually non-existent. The economy was stagnant, and living standards were extremely low. The Cultural Revolution, 1966–1976, a period marked by social and political chaos, further crippled the economy. During this time, intellectuals and professionals were persecuted, and many industries and institutions were severely disrupted. By the time the Cultural Revolution ended, China was in desperate need of economic and social reform. The beginning of economic reforms, 1978 and beyond. The turning point for China came in December 1978, when Deng Xiaoping, who had emerged as the paramount leader of China, initiated a series of economic reforms. These reforms marked the beginning of China's transition from a centrally planned economy to a more market-oriented one. Deng's famous phrase, "It doesn't matter whether a cat is black or white as long as it catches mice," encapsulated his pragmatic approach to economic development. 1. Introduction of the household responsibility system. One of the first and most significant reforms was the introduction of the household responsibility system in agriculture. Under this system, rural households were given the right to lease land from the government, which they could then farm and sell the produce on the market. This shift from collective farming to household-based farming led to a significant increase in agricultural productivity and rural incomes. It marked the beginning of a broader move towards market mechanisms in the Chinese economy. 2. Opening up to foreign trade and investment. Another crucial aspect of the early reforms was the opening up of the Chinese economy to foreign trade and investment. Special economic zones, SEZs, were established in coastal areas, such as Shenzhen, to attract foreign investment and technology. These zones were given more flexibility in terms of economic policies, such as tax incentives and reduced regulations, which made them attractive to foreign companies. The SEZs became the testing grounds for market-oriented reforms and played a crucial role in integrating China into the global economy. 3. Reform of state-owned enterprises. In the early 1980s, the Chinese government began experimenting with reforms in state-owned enterprises, SOEs. These enterprises were given more autonomy to make decisions regarding production, pricing, and investment. Profit incentives were introduced, and SOEs were encouraged to compete in the market. Over time, the government also allowed for the creation of private enterprises, particularly in the form of township and village enterprises, TVEs, which played a significant role in the rural economy. 4. Gradual privatization and the development of a private sector. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, China gradually moved towards privatization. The private sector began to flourish, especially in the form of small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs. These businesses became a major driver of economic growth, creating jobs and contributing to the diversification of the economy. By the early 2000s, the private sector accounted for a significant portion of China's GDP. 5. Investment in infrastructure and urbanization. The Chinese government made massive investments in infrastructure, including transportation, energy, and telecommunications. This investment laid the foundation for rapid urbanization and industrialization. Cities like Shanghai, Beijing, and Guangzhou became major economic hubs, attracting both domestic and foreign investment. Urbanization also fueled the growth of the service sector, which became increasingly important as the economy diversified. The role of government in China's economic growth. The Chinese government has played a central role in the country's economic development. Unlike many Western countries where market forces predominantly drive the economy, China's economic model has been characterized by significant government intervention and guidance. This state-led model has been instrumental in shaping China's economic trajectory. 1. Strategic economic planning. The Chinese government has used strategic economic planning to guide the country's development. 5-year plans, a legacy of the Soviet-style planned economy, have been used to set economic priorities, allocate resources, and implement reforms. These plans have allowed the government to focus on key sectors, such as manufacturing, technology, and infrastructure, and to steer the economy towards long-term goals. 2. Industrial policy and the promotion of key industries. Industrial policy has been a key tool in China's economic strategy. The government has identified and promoted key industries, such as steel, automotive, electronics, and later high-tech sectors, like information technology and biotechnology. Through subsidies, tax incentives, and other forms of support, the government has nurtured these industries, enabling them to become globally competitive. 3. Control of the financial system. The Chinese government has maintained tight control over the financial system, including the banking sector and capital markets. State-owned banks have played a crucial role in financing economic development, particularly through lending to state-owned enterprises and key industries. This control has allowed the government to channel financial resources towards strategic sectors and to maintain stability in the financial system. 4. Management of exchange rates and trade policies. China's exchange rate policy has been a critical component of its economic strategy. For many years, the Chinese yuan was pegged to the US dollar at a relatively low rate, which made Chinese exports cheaper and more competitive in international markets. This exchange rate policy, combined with trade policies that encouraged exports, contributed to China's emergence as the world's factory. 5. Social policies and the one-child policy. Social policies have also played a role in China's economic development. The one-child policy, implemented in 1980, was intended to curb population growth and reduce the strain on resources. While the policy has been controversial and had significant social implications, it also contributed to the demographic changes that supported China's economic transformation, including a focus on education and a labor force with fewer dependents. Globalization and integration into the world economy. China's integration into the global economy has been a major driver of its economic growth. The country's participation in global trade, investment, and technology transfer has allowed it to rapidly industrialize and modernize. 1. Accession to the World Trade Organization, WTO. One of the most significant milestones in China's economic history was its accession to the World Trade Organization, WTO, in 2001. Joining the WTO marked China's full integration into the global trading system. It opened up new markets for Chinese exports and brought in foreign investment and technology. The WTO membership also required China to adopt international trade norms and standards, which further facilitated its economic growth. 2. Export-led growth and the role of manufacturing. China's economic model has been heavily reliant on export-led growth. The country's vast and relatively low-cost labor force, combined with its investment in manufacturing infrastructure, made it an attractive destination for multinational corporations seeking to outsource production. China became the world's leading exporter of goods, ranging from textiles to electronics. The export-oriented manufacturing sector became the engine of China's economic growth, generating employment, income, and foreign exchange reserves. 3. Foreign direct investment, FDI. Foreign direct investment, FDI, has played a crucial role in China's economic development. The government actively sought FDI by creating favorable conditions, such as the establishment of special economic zones, SEZs, and the provision of tax incentives. FDI brought in capital, technology, and managerial expertise, which helped to modernize China's industries and enhance their competitiveness. Over the years, China has become one of the largest recipients of FDI in the world. 4. Technology transfer and innovation. Technology transfer has been a key element of China's economic strategy. The government encouraged foreign companies to invest in China, often requiring them to form joint ventures with Chinese firms. Through these partnerships, Chinese companies gained access to advanced technologies and knowledge. Over time, China has developed its own innovation capabilities, particularly in areas such as telecommunications, electronics, and, more recently, artificial intelligence and biotechnology. 5. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. In recent years, China has launched the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a massive infrastructure and investment project that aims to connect Asia with Europe and Africa through a network of trade routes. The BRI is both an economic and a geopolitical strategy. It seeks to expand China's influence in the global economy by developing infrastructure, enhancing trade connectivity, and promoting investment in participating countries. The BRI has also provided new opportunities for Chinese companies and contributed to the internationalization of the Chinese economy. The role of demographics and the labor force. China's demographic structure and its labor force have been critical factors in its economic rise. The country's large and relatively young population provided a vast labor pool that supported its industrialization and urbanization. 1. The demographic dividend. In the early stages of China's economic reform, the country benefited from a demographic dividend. This period was characterized by a high proportion of working-age individuals relative to dependents, children, and elderly. The large, young, and economically active population contributed to rapid economic growth by providing abundant labor, increasing savings, and supporting investment in education and skills development. 2. Urbanization and migration. Urbanization has been a major driver of China's economic transformation. Millions of people migrated from rural areas to cities in search of better job opportunities. This migration fueled the growth of urban industries, particularly in manufacturing and services. Urbanization also led to the development of new markets, as urban residents had higher incomes and greater consumption needs. The government supported urbanization by investing in housing, transportation, and public services in cities. 3. Education and human capital development. China has made significant investments in education and human capital development. The government recognized early on that a skilled and educated workforce was essential for economic modernization. As a result, there has been a strong emphasis on improving access to education and raising educational standards. Over the past few decades, China has seen a dramatic increase in literacy rates, school enrollment, and the number of university graduates. This investment in human capital has been crucial in supporting the country's move up the value chain from low-cost manufacturing to higher-value industries. 4. The challenge of an aging population. As China's economy has grown, it has also faced the challenge of an aging population. The one-child policy, combined with increased life expectancy, has led to a rapidly aging society. This demographic shift poses challenges for the economy, including a shrinking labour force and increasing pressure on social services and pensions. The government has responded by gradually relaxing the one-child policy and implementing measures to encourage higher birth rates and support the elderly. The role of innovation and technology. Innovation and technology have become increasingly important drivers of China's economic growth. The country has made significant strides in developing its own technological capabilities and is now a leader in several high-tech industries. 1. Investment in research and development, R&D. The Chinese government has made substantial investments in research and development, R&D, as part of its strategy to move from being a low-cost manufacturer to a global leader in innovation. R&D spending in China has increased rapidly over the past few decades, making it one of the largest spenders on R&D in the world. This investment has been directed towards both basic research and applied sciences, with a focus on key areas such as information technology, biotechnology, renewable energy, and space exploration. 2. The rise of Chinese tech giants. China has become home to some of the world's largest and most innovative technology companies. Firms such as Huawei, Tencent, Alibaba, and Baidu have become global leaders in telecommunications, e-commerce, artificial intelligence, and internet services. These companies have benefited from a large domestic market, government support, and a favorable regulatory environment. They have also expanded internationally, increasing China's influence in the global technology sector. 3. The role of government in promoting innovation. The Chinese government has played a proactive role in promoting innovation. It has implemented policies to support high-tech industries, such as providing subsidies, tax incentives, and grants for R&D. The government has also established innovation clusters, such as the Zhongguancun Science Park in Beijing and the Shenzhen High-Tech Industrial Park, which bring together research institutions, startups, and established companies to foster collaboration and innovation. 4. Intellectual property and legal reforms. As China has moved up the technological ladder, it has also strengthened its intellectual property, IP laws, and enforcement mechanisms. The protection of IP rights has become a priority for the government, as it recognizes the importance of innovation for economic growth. China has made significant progress in improving its IP regime, although challenges remain, particularly in areas such as patent protection and counterfeiting. Challenges and risks to sustained growth. While China's economic rise has been impressive, the country faces several challenges and risks that could impact its future growth. 1. Environmental degradation. China's rapid industrialization and urbanization have come at a significant environmental cost. Air and water pollution, deforestation, and soil degradation are major issues that have serious implications for public health and the sustainability of economic growth. The government has begun to address these challenges by implementing stricter environmental regulations, investing in renewable energy, and promoting green technologies. However, balancing economic growth with environmental protection remains a difficult task. 2. Economic inequality. Despite the overall increase in wealth, economic inequality has become a significant issue in China. The gap between urban and rural areas, as well as between different regions of the country, has widened. Income inequality has also increased, with a growing divide between the rich and the poor. The government has implemented policies to reduce inequality, such as poverty alleviation programs, social welfare initiatives, and efforts to develop underdeveloped regions. However, addressing inequality remains a challenge, particularly in the context of slowing economic growth. 3. Debt and financial stability. China's rapid economic growth has been accompanied by a significant increase in debt, particularly in the corporate and local government sectors. The accumulation of debt has raised concerns about financial stability, especially in the face of slowing economic growth. The government has taken steps to address these concerns, such as tightening regulations on shadow banking, controlling credit growth, and managing risks in the real estate sector. However, maintaining financial stability while supporting economic growth is a delicate balancing act. 4. Slowing economic growth. As China's economy matures, it is facing the challenge of slowing growth. The era of double-digit GDP growth has ended, and the economy is transitioning to a new phase characterized by slower, more sustainable growth. This transition involves shifting from an investment-driven model to one that is more reliant on consumption and services. Managing this transition while maintaining social stability and continuing to improve living standards is a significant challenge for the government. 5. Global trade tensions and geopolitical risks. China's rise has led to increasing tensions with other major powers, particularly the United States. Trade disputes, competition for technological leadership, and geopolitical conflicts pose risks to China's economic development. The trade war with the United States, for example, has highlighted the vulnerabilities of China's export-oriented economy. The Chinese government is working to mitigate these risks by diversifying its trade partners, increasing domestic consumption, and investing in strategic industries. However, navigating the complex global geopolitical landscape will be a key challenge for China in the coming years. Conclusion: China's remarkable economic transformation over the past 40 years has been driven by a combination of factors, including economic reforms, government policies, globalization, demographics, and technological innovation. The country's rise from poverty to becoming a global economic powerhouse is a testament to the effectiveness of its development strategy. However, as China continues to evolve, it faces new challenges that will require careful management and adaptation. Looking ahead, the sustainability of China's economic growth will depend on its ability to address these challenges while continuing to innovate and adapt to a rapidly changing global environment. If China can successfully navigate these challenges, it is likely to remain one of the world's leading economies for the foreseeable future. However, the road ahead is uncertain, and the outcome will depend on how effectively China manages its internal and external risks in the coming years. The story of China's economic rise is one of both triumph and complexity. It offers valuable lessons not only for other developing countries seeking to emulate China's success, but also for the world as it grapples with the implications of China's growing influence on the global stage. As China continues its journey, it will be closely watched by the world, both as a model of development and as a key player in shaping the future of the global economy. Why is China having rapid progress? China's rapid progress over the last few decades is one of the most significant stories of modern economic history. From an impoverished, largely agrarian society to a global superpower, China's transformation has been remarkable. This progress is the result of a combination of strategic government policies, economic reforms, technological advancements, and a deep integration into the global economy. Understanding these factors provides insight into how China has been able to sustain such rapid development. 1. Economic reforms and open-door policy. The foundation of China's rapid progress was laid with the economic reforms initiated in 1978 under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping. Before these reforms, China had a centrally planned economy where the government controlled all aspects of production and distribution. This system led to inefficiencies and stagnant economic growth. Deng Xiaoping introduced market-oriented reforms, allowing for private enterprise and market mechanisms within the socialist framework. The most notable of these was the open door policy, which opened China to foreign trade and investment. Special economic zones, SEZs, were established in coastal areas, offering tax incentives and fewer regulations to attract foreign businesses. These zones became hubs of economic activity, bringing in foreign capital, technology, and managerial expertise, which significantly boosted China's industrial base. The shift from a closed, centrally planned economy to one that embraced elements of market economics was crucial in sparking China's rapid progress. It enabled more efficient allocation of resources, encouraged entrepreneurship, and integrated China into the global economy. 2. Massive infrastructure development. Infrastructure development has been a cornerstone of China's rapid progress. The government has invested heavily in building roads, railways, ports, airports, and telecommunications networks. These investments have connected various parts of the country, making it easier to move goods and people, which in turn has facilitated economic growth. The expansion of high-speed rail networks and modern highways has improved connectivity between rural and urban areas, encouraging the movement of labor and goods. Urbanization, driven by infrastructure development, has allowed millions of people to migrate from rural areas to cities in search of better job opportunities. This has not only boosted industrial productivity, but has also expanded the domestic market for goods and services. 3. Industrialization and manufacturing dominance. China's rise as the world's factory is another key factor in its rapid progress. The country has leveraged its large labor force to build a dominant manufacturing sector. Initially, China focused on low-cost, labor-intensive manufacturing, producing goods such as textiles, toys, and electronics for export. Over time, Chinese industries have moved up the value chain, producing more sophisticated products like automobiles, machinery, and consumer electronics. The emphasis on manufacturing has not only created millions of jobs, but also contributed to the accumulation of foreign exchange reserves through exports. This export-driven model has been a major engine of China's economic growth, allowing it to achieve high GDP growth rates for several decades. 4. Investment in education and human capital. China's leadership recognized early on that education and human capital development were essential for sustaining long-term economic growth. The government has made significant investments in education, resulting in a dramatic increase in literacy rates and the number of students enrolled in higher education. The focus on education has produced a large, skilled workforce capable of supporting China's industrial and technological ambitions. Additionally, the emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM education, has fostered a generation of innovators and engineers who have driven China's progress in high-tech industries. 5. Technological innovation and digital economy. China's rapid progress in recent years can also be attributed to its advancements in technology and the digital economy. The government has prioritized innovation as a key driver of future growth. China is now a global leader in several high-tech industries, including telecommunications, artificial intelligence, e-commerce, and renewable energy. Companies like Huawei, Tencent, Alibaba, and Baidu have become global giants, leading in areas such as 5G technology, mobile payments, and online services. The rapid adoption of digital technologies has transformed China's economy, creating new business models and markets, and increasing productivity. Moreover, the Chinese government has supported research and development, R&D, through funding, policy incentives, and the establishment of innovation hubs and tech parks. This focus on innovation has enabled China to reduce its reliance on foreign technology and become a leader in several cutting-edge industries. 6. Strategic government planning and policy support. The Chinese government's ability to plan strategically and implement policies effectively has been a crucial factor in the country's rapid progress. China's economic development has been guided by 5-year plans, which outline key priorities, targets, and strategies. These plans have allowed the government to focus resources on critical areas such as infrastructure, industry, technology, and education. The government's proactive role in the economy, including its ability to mobilize resources quickly and at scale, has enabled China to overcome challenges and maintain high growth rates. Additionally, China's leadership has been pragmatic in its approach, willing to adjust policies and strategies based on changing circumstances, which has helped sustain the country's rapid development. 7. Integration into the global economy. China's integration into the global economy has been another key driver of its rapid progress. Joining the World Trade Organization, WTO, in 2001 marked a significant milestone in China's global integration. WTO membership opened up new markets for Chinese goods, boosted exports, and attracted foreign investment. China's participation in global trade has not only fueled its economic growth, but has also facilitated technology transfer and learning from more advanced economies. As China became a key player in global supply chains, it gained access to the knowledge, skills, and technologies needed to advance its own industrial and technological capabilities. Conclusion: China's rapid progress is the result of a combination of strategic economic reforms, massive infrastructure development, a focus on manufacturing, investment in human capital, technological innovation, effective government planning, and deep integration into the global economy. These factors have collectively transformed China from a poor agrarian society into a global economic powerhouse. While challenges remain, including environmental sustainability and economic inequality, China's ability to adapt and innovate will likely continue to drive its progress in the years to come. China's rapid progress, while remarkable, is not without its complexities and challenges. As the country continues to evolve, it faces several obstacles that could influence the sustainability and direction of its future growth. In this extended discussion, we explore these challenges, the responses to them, and the potential future trajectory of China's development. 8. Challenges to sustained progress. AI. Environmental sustainability. One of the most pressing challenges China faces is environmental sustainability. The rapid industrialization and urbanization that fueled China's economic growth have also led to severe environmental degradation. Air and water pollution, deforestation, and loss of biodiversity are major concerns. The heavy reliance on coal for energy has made China the world's largest emitter of greenhouse gases, contributing to global climate change. The Chinese government has recognized the severity of these environmental challenges and has taken steps to address them. Policies promoting renewable energy, stricter environmental regulations, and initiatives like the ecological civilization concept are part of China's efforts to create a more sustainable development model. However, balancing economic growth with environmental protection remains a complex task, particularly as the country continues to industrialize and urbanize. B. Economic inequality. Despite its overall economic success, China faces significant issues with income inequality. The rapid growth has led to a widening gap between urban and rural areas, as well as between different regions of the country. Coastal provinces have generally benefited more from economic reforms than inland areas, leading to regional disparities. In addition to geographic inequality, there is also a growing wealth gap between the rich and the poor. The rise of a wealthy elite contrasts sharply with the conditions of millions who still live in poverty, particularly in rural areas. The Chinese government has implemented various policies to reduce inequality, such as poverty alleviation programs and social welfare initiatives. However, addressing these disparities remains a significant challenge, especially as the economy slows and the labor market becomes more competitive. See demographic challenges. China's population dynamics are another critical factor that could impact its future growth. The country is facing a rapidly aging population, largely as a result of the one-child policy implemented in 1979. This demographic shift presents challenges such as a shrinking labor force, increased demand for healthcare and social services, and the financial strain of supporting a growing elderly population. To mitigate these issues, China has gradually relaxed its family planning policies, allowing families to have 2 or more children. However, the impact of these policy changes has been limited, as many families still choose to have fewer children due to economic pressures. The aging population may slow economic growth in the coming decades, necessitating reforms in areas like pensions, healthcare, and labor markets to adapt to this new demographic reality. Debt and financial stability. China's rapid economic expansion has been accompanied by a significant increase in debt, particularly in the corporate and local government sectors. This debt has fueled investment in infrastructure, real estate, and other sectors, but it has also raised concerns about financial stability. The risk of defaults, particularly in the real estate sector, poses a potential threat to the broader economy. The Chinese government has taken steps to address these risks by tightening regulations on shadow banking, controlling credit growth, and managing risks in the real estate market. However, balancing the need to curb excessive debt with the desire to maintain economic growth is a delicate task. The ongoing challenges in the real estate sector, exemplified by the struggles of major developers like Evergrande, highlight the potential risks of high debt levels in the economy. Geopolitical tensions. China's rise as a global power has led to increased geopolitical tensions, particularly with the United States and other Western countries. Trade disputes, competition for technological leadership, and conflicts over issues such as human rights and territorial claims have strained China's relationships with other major powers. These tensions pose risks to China's economic development, particularly in areas like trade, investment, and access to global markets. In response to these challenges, China has sought to diversify its economic relationships through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, which aims to build infrastructure and strengthen economic ties across Asia, Europe, and Africa. Additionally, China is focusing on increasing domestic consumption and reducing its reliance on exports as part of its dual circulation strategy. However, navigating the complex global geopolitical landscape will require careful diplomacy and strategic planning. 9. The future trajectory of China's development. As China looks to the future, its ability to sustain progress will depend on several key factors. A. Innovation and technological leadership. China's future economic growth will increasingly depend on its ability to innovate and lead in high-tech industries. Continued investment in research and development, education, and infrastructure will be critical in maintaining China's competitive edge in areas like artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and renewable energy. The government's focus on self-reliance in critical technologies, particularly in response to external pressures such as trade restrictions, will also shape the trajectory of China's technological development. B. Economic rebalancing. China's transition from an investment-driven, export-oriented economy to one that is more reliant on domestic consumption and services will be crucial for sustained growth. This economic rebalancing will require structural reforms to boost consumer spending, improve social safety nets, and promote higher-value industries. Successfully managing this transition will help China achieve more sustainable and inclusive growth. C. Environmental and social sustainability. Addressing environmental challenges and ensuring social sustainability will be key to China's long-term development. This includes not only reducing pollution and promoting green technologies, but also addressing issues like income inequality, access to healthcare and education, and demographic challenges. Policies that promote social equity and environmental protection will be essential in ensuring that China's progress benefits all segments of society and does not come at the cost of future generations. D. Global integration and diplomacy. China's continued integration into the global economy will be influenced by its ability to navigate geopolitical challenges and maintain stable relationships with other major powers. Diplomatic efforts to resolve conflicts, build alliances, and participate in global governance will be crucial in shaping China's role in the world. As China's influence grows, it will also face the challenge of balancing its domestic priorities with its responsibilities as a global leader. Conclusion: China's rapid progress over the past few decades has been driven by a combination of strategic government policies, economic reforms, technological advancements, and integration into the global economy. However, as China continues to develop, it faces significant challenges that will require careful management and adaptation. The future of China's progress will depend on its ability to innovate, balance economic growth with social and environmental sustainability, and navigate the complex global landscape. If China can successfully address these challenges, it is likely to continue its trajectory as one of the world's leading economies. However, the road ahead is uncertain, and the outcomes will depend on how effectively China manages its internal and external risks in the coming years. The story of China's rapid progress is not only a testament to its past achievements, but also a harbinger of the complex and dynamic challenges that lie ahead. 10. The role of governance and policy in China's future progress. As China navigates the complexities of its future development, the role of governance and policymaking will be more crucial than ever. The centralized nature of the Chinese government has allowed for swift decision-making and implementation of policies, which has been a key factor in China's rapid growth. However, as the country faces increasingly multifaceted challenges, the adaptability and effectiveness of its governance will be tested. A. Centralized leadership and strategic planning. The Chinese government's ability to implement long-term strategic plans has been central to its success. The 5-year plans have provided a clear framework for economic and social development, with specific targets and goals. This centralized approach allows the government to direct resources where they are most needed and to make adjustments in response to changing conditions. As China continues to evolve, the government's ability to maintain this level of strategic planning while also fostering innovation and flexibility will be essential. The challenge will be to balance centralized control with the need for local governments and businesses to adapt to rapidly changing economic conditions. B. Legal and institutional reforms. As China's economy and society become more complex, there is a growing need for legal and institutional reforms. The rule of law, protection of intellectual property rights, and the development of transparent regulatory frameworks are all critical for fostering a business environment that encourages innovation and sustainable growth. The government has made progress in some areas, such as strengthening intellectual property laws and improving the legal system. However, further reforms are needed to ensure that China's institutions can support its ongoing development. This includes not only economic reforms, but also social and political reforms that can help address issues like corruption, inequality, and social unrest. See public accountability and social contract. One of the challenges facing China's governance model is the need to maintain public accountability and trust. As the population becomes more educated and connected through digital platforms, there is increasing demand for transparency and accountability in government actions. The government's ability to maintain social stability while addressing the concerns of its citizens will be crucial. The social contract between the Chinese government and its citizens has historically been based on the promise of economic growth and improved living standards. As the economy matures and growth slows, the government will need to find new ways to meet the expectations of its citizens. This may involve expanding social services, improving environmental conditions, and ensuring that the benefits of growth are more evenly distributed. 11. China's global influence and leadership. As China continues to rise, its role on the global stage will become increasingly prominent. The country's influence extends beyond economics to include geopolitical, cultural, and environmental dimensions. How China positions itself as a global leader will have significant implications for the world order. A. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. One of the most ambitious projects reflecting China's global aspirations is the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Launched in 2013, the BRI aims to build infrastructure and enhance connectivity across Asia, Europe, Africa, and beyond. This initiative has the potential to reshape global trade routes, foster economic development in participating countries, and strengthen China's influence in global affairs. However, the BRI also faces criticism and challenges, including concerns about debt sustainability in participating countries, environmental impacts, and geopolitical tensions. The success of the BRI will depend on China's ability to address these concerns and build partnerships based on mutual benefit and respect. B. Global governance and multilateralism. China's growing influence also extends to global governance. As a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council and a major player in organizations like the World Trade Organization, WTO, and the G20, China is increasingly involved in shaping global policies on issues ranging from trade and finance to climate change and cybersecurity. China has shown a commitment to multilateralism, often positioning itself as a defender of globalization and international cooperation, particularly in contrast to rising protectionism in some Western countries. However, as China's global role expands, it will need to navigate the complexities of international diplomacy and manage its relationships with other major powers. C. Soft power and cultural influence. In addition to economic and political influence, China is also investing in expanding its cultural influence, often referred to as soft power. Through initiatives like Confucius Institutes, global media expansion, and cultural exchanges, China is working to promote its culture, values, and perspectives internationally. While these efforts have had some success, China's soft power is still relatively limited compared to its economic and political influence. The country's global image is sometimes challenged by issues such as human rights concerns, which can affect its ability to build trust and cooperation with other nations. 12. The future of China's economic model. China's economic model, which has been highly successful in driving rapid growth, is now at a crossroads. The country is transitioning from a high-growth, investment-driven model to one that emphasizes quality of growth, sustainability, and innovation. This transition will be crucial in determining China's future economic trajectory. A. Shift towards consumption and services. One of the key aspects of this transition is the shift from an economy driven by investment and exports to one led by domestic consumption and services. This shift is necessary to sustain growth as the benefits of cheap labor and export-oriented manufacturing diminish. Encouraging domestic consumption involves not only increasing incomes, but also improving social safety nets, such as healthcare, education, and pensions, so that households feel more secure in spending. The growth of the services sector, including finance, healthcare, and education, will also play a crucial role in this new economic model. B. Sustainability and green growth. China's future economic model will need to prioritize sustainability and green growth. The government has already made significant commitments to reduce carbon emissions, promote renewable energy, and improve environmental standards. These efforts are not only crucial for addressing domestic environmental issues, but also for meeting global climate targets. Green growth will also create new economic opportunities in industries such as clean energy, electric vehicles, and environmental technologies. By positioning itself as a leader in these industries, China can drive both economic growth and environmental sustainability. C. Technological self-reliance and innovation. As China seeks to move up the value chain, technological self-reliance and innovation will be central to its economic strategy. This involves developing indigenous capabilities in critical technologies such as semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology, reducing reliance on foreign technologies and fostering homegrown innovation. The government's support for research and development, along with policies to encourage innovation and entrepreneurship, will be key to achieving these goals. However, building a truly innovative economy will require not only investment, but also a cultural shift towards creativity, risk-taking, and openness. Conclusion: the road ahead for China. China's rapid progress over the past 40 years is a testament to the country's strategic planning, economic reforms, and ability to adapt to a changing world. As China looks to the future, it faces a range of challenges that will test its ability to sustain and build upon this progress. The future of China's development will depend on its ability to balance economic growth with environmental sustainability, address social inequalities, and continue to innovate in the face of new global challenges. The country's role on the global stage will also be critical as it navigates geopolitical tensions, expands its influence through initiatives like the BRI, and contributes to global governance. As China continues to evolve, its path will likely be marked by both successes and setbacks. However, the country's history of resilience and adaptability suggests that it will continue to play a leading role in shaping the future of the global economy. The world will be watching closely as China embarks on the next phase of its remarkable journey. China as the world's leading power, a double-edged sword. In recent decades, China has rapidly ascended the global stage, transforming from a developing nation to an economic powerhouse with significant geopolitical influence. As of now, many analysts and observers argue that China is either the #1 country in the world or is on the verge of claiming that position. This rise is often compared to the ascension of the United States in the 20th century, which shifted the global balance of power. But now that China holds this coveted position, it is essential to ask, how good is that? China's rise has profound implications, not just for its 1.4 billion citizens, but for the entire world. The consequences of China's dominance are multifaceted, affecting economics, geopolitics, technological innovation, and cultural dynamics. To understand how good, or potentially perilous, China's ascension is, we must dissect these various dimensions. 1. Economic impact, a double-edged sword. China's economic growth has been nothing short of spectacular. The country is now the world's second-largest economy by nominal GDP and the largest by purchasing power parity, PPP. It is the world's manufacturing hub, producing a significant portion of global consumer goods, and it is also a major player in global trade, with its Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, reaching out to over 140 countries. Benefits of China's economic ascendancy. Global economic growth. China's rapid economic development has contributed significantly to global growth. It has lifted millions of people out of poverty, both within its borders and in other developing countries, through trade and investment. Consumer goods and technology. China's position as a manufacturing giant has led to cheaper goods for consumers worldwide. Its technological advancements, particularly in telecommunications, have also benefited global markets. Foreign direct investment. China has become one of the largest sources of foreign direct investment, FDI. Its investments in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America have helped to develop infrastructure, creating jobs and contributing to economic stability in these regions. Challenges and concerns. Economic dependence. The world's heavy reliance on Chinese manufacturing poses risks. Any disruption in China's economy, such as the one seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, can have far-reaching effects on global supply chains. Debt diplomacy. Critics argue that China's BRI has trapped developing countries in debt, leading to increased Chinese influence over these nations' political and economic decisions. This form of debt diplomacy is seen by some as a strategic move to expand China's global influence at the expense of these countries' sovereignty. Trade imbalances. The massive trade surpluses that China enjoys, particularly with Western countries, have led to economic tensions, most notably with the United States. These imbalances have fueled trade wars and protectionist policies, disrupting global trade flows. 2. Geopolitical ramifications. A new world order. China's rise is not just economic, but also geopolitical. Its growing influence is reshaping international relations and challenging the existing world order, which has been dominated by Western powers, particularly the United States. Positive aspects. Multipolar world. China's rise contributes to a more multipolar world, reducing the dominance of any single country. This can lead to a more balanced global power structure, where multiple nations have a say in international affairs. Peaceful development. China advocates for peaceful development, emphasizing diplomacy and economic cooperation over military intervention. Its non-interference policy, especially in the internal affairs of other countries, contrasts with the more interventionist approaches of some Western powers. Negative consequences. Regional tensions. China's territorial claims in the South China Sea, its handling of Hong Kong, and its stance on Taiwan have led to significant regional tensions. These issues have drawn in other powers, raising the risk of military conflict in Asia. Authoritarian influence. China's model of governance, which combines authoritarianism with economic liberalization, is being promoted as an alternative to the liberal democratic model. This has led to concerns about the erosion of democratic norms and human rights, particularly in developing countries influenced by China. Military expansion. China's military modernization and expansion, including the development of advanced weapons systems and the establishment of overseas military bases, have caused unease among its neighbors and other global powers. This expansion is seen as a challenge to the military dominance of the United States and its allies. 3. Technological prowess. Innovation or domination. China's technological advancements have been impressive. From artificial intelligence, AI, to 5G networks, China is at the forefront of several key technologies that will shape the future. Advantages. Global innovation hub. China has become a global leader in innovation, particularly in areas like AI, e-commerce, and green technologies. Companies like Huawei, Alibaba, and Tencent are leading the way in these fields, contributing to global technological progress. Digital economy. China's digital economy is booming, with a massive market for e-commerce, mobile payments, and digital services. This has created opportunities for both domestic and international businesses to tap into one of the world's largest and fastest-growing consumer markets. Technological sovereignty. China's drive for technological self-sufficiency, particularly in semiconductors and other critical technologies, could reduce global dependence on Western technology. This diversification could be beneficial for global tech resilience. Concerns: surveillance state. China's use of technology for surveillance and control, both domestically and abroad, raises significant ethical and privacy concerns. The export of this model to other countries could lead to a global increase in state surveillance and repression. Techno-nationalism. China's push for technological dominance has fueled a form of techno-nationalism, where control over critical technologies is seen as a matter of national security. This has led to increased tensions with other tech powers, particularly the United States, and could result in a fragmented global tech ecosystem. Intellectual property issues. China has long been criticized for intellectual property theft and forced technology transfers. These practices undermine global trust and could stifle innovation by discouraging foreign companies from sharing their technologies. 4. Cultural influence, soft power or cultural imperialism. China's cultural influence is expanding alongside its economic and political power. Through initiatives like Confucius Institutes, global media expansion, and cultural diplomacy, China is increasingly asserting its soft power on the world stage. Positive outcomes, cultural exchange. China's increased cultural presence has led to greater global awareness and appreciation of Chinese history, philosophy, and arts. This cultural exchange can foster mutual understanding and cooperation. Tourism and education. China has become a major destination for international students and tourists, which helps to build people-to-people connections and enhance China's image abroad. Concerns: cultural censorship. The export of Chinese media and cultural products often comes with censorship and state-controlled narratives. This raises concerns about the spread of propaganda and the suppression of free speech and diverse viewpoints. Nationalism and xenophobia. The promotion of Chinese culture is sometimes accompanied by a rise in nationalism and xenophobia, both within China and in its interactions with the world. This can lead to cultural conflicts and a backlash against Chinese influence. Soft power challenges. Despite its efforts, China's soft power is still limited compared to Western powers. Negative perceptions of China's political system and its human rights record continue to undermine its cultural influence globally. So, environmental impact, leading the green revolution or polluting giant. China's environmental policies are a crucial aspect of its global impact. As the world's largest emitter of carbon dioxide, China plays a critical role in global efforts to combat climate change. Progressive measures, renewable energy. Leader: China is the world's largest producer of renewable energy, particularly in solar and wind power. Its investments in green technology are crucial for global efforts to transition to a low-carbon economy. Environmental initiatives. The Chinese government has implemented ambitious environmental policies, including reforestation projects, pollution control measures, and commitments to achieving carbon neutrality by 2060. Challenges and criticisms. Environmental degradation. Despite progress, China still faces significant environmental challenges, including air and water pollution, soil degradation, and loss of biodiversity. These issues have both domestic and global implications. Global carbon footprint. China's status as the world's largest emitter of greenhouse gases means that its environmental policies have a direct impact on global climate change. The pace of its transition to a green economy will be critical in determining the success of global climate goals. Resource extraction abroad. China's demand for natural resources has led to environmental degradation in other countries, particularly in Africa and Latin America, where Chinese companies are involved in mining and deforestation. This has sparked concerns about the environmental and social impacts of China's global economic expansion. 6. Human rights and governance, a model for the future. China's rise brings into question its governance model, which contrasts sharply with Western democratic ideals. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, maintains strict control over the country, leading to a unique blend of economic freedom and political authoritarianism. Strengths of the Chinese model: efficiency and stability. The Chinese model is often praised for its efficiency in decision-making and ability to maintain political stability. This has been particularly evident in China's ability to execute large-scale infrastructure projects and respond to crises like the COVID-19 pandemic. Poverty alleviation. The Chinese government's focus on economic development has led to the largest poverty reduction in human history, lifting hundreds of millions of people out of poverty over the past few decades.